So the pouch needs to be changed every 3 to 4 days, typically, or if it leaks, change it as soon as possible. To remove the pouch, you want to work your way around the edge, pulling that tape up, but push down on the skin as you pull up so that you don't rip the skin, just like when you're removing any kind of adhesive. Work your way around. Be ready with gauze and saline is what you want to use to clean. Toss that in your red bin typically. You would have emptied the pouch prior to taking it off, or you would have a mess most likely. But yeah, take it off, and then you would get gauze and saline. And you never want to use bath wipes because that'll leave a residue. Never want to use soap because that'll leave a residue on the skin. That'll make the pouch not stick. Clean with soap and water. When you're cleaning the stoma, it may come off a little bit red. Some bleeding is not abnormal because it's very mucosal tissue. So you've got your pouch off. And we're going to use the circle stoma. You've cleaned really well. Make sure the skin is clean and dry, of course. Just be aware that sometimes this might squirt at you, so be ready with some gauze to catch it if the bowels are moving. Preferably if this is a routine change, you want to do it in the morning before they eat because that bowels will be less active at that time. So we've cleaned and dried, and then we can get our pouch ready. The pouch does have measurements on the back side. This looks a little bit different than the pouches that are stocked on our carts, but it'll look essentially like this. And you will just kind of initially try to eyeball. Cut smaller than you think you're going to need. Make sure when you're using a one-piece pouch that you are not cutting through the other side, so you want to be pulling it away from that outside. So we'll start at 1 1/4 inches. And then so once you've compared or initial cut, then you're going to compare here and see. Your goal is going to be to have about 1/8 inch of skin showing. So if you can't see this super well, but this is cutting into the stoma a little bit on these sides. So I'm going to then, I've done my little bit of comparing. This is like an arts and crafts project. So now I kind of have an idea of where I need to go bigger. So I'm going to cut bigger on those sides because this just isn't quite circular. And your oval stomas are going to be a little bit more challenging than your circle stomas. So let's see, I need to go a little bit bigger. So it's just this trial and error kind of cut, look. But one of the most common mistakes I see is that this is cut way too large. So somebody will just cut out the whole backside and stick it on, and then you've got 1 centimeter to 1 inch of skin showing around sometimes, and then they'll get severe skin breakdown. So don't do that. So this is pretty close, but you would get this perfect that you're happy with it. Just a little bit of skin showing the whole way around, and so then you've got your pouch prepped. Just a note too, if Jean or I have changed a pouch before, there's this plastic backing that you pull off when you go to put the pouch on. We will keep that plastic backing and put it on the whiteboard, and you can use that as a pattern to trace onto your new pouch. And then you don't have to do all this trial and error. You might have to adjust a little bit, especially if it's a new ostomy, because that stoma will change size for the first 6 to 8 weeks after they get an ostomy, so it might change from time to time, but you can use that pattern initially. So we're clean and we're dry. We've got our pouch that we're happy how it is going to be. We're going to save our pattern, put the date on it, and put it on the whiteboard. And then we're just going to put that on. Start by pressing around that inner edge, because that's your most important spot to get a seal. And just apply gentle pressure. Tell the patient, it really shouldn't hurt, but they're going to feel pressure as you're pressing around. So make sure you've got a good seal there around the middle, and then you can seal the edges. Our pouches that we have on the cart will have white tabs underneath the edges under the tape that you'll have to pull off after you put that on. This pouch just doesn't have that. Make sure that your end is closed. before you would walk away, and put the date on that barrier on the back so the next nurse knows when it was changed. Other things to know about: if the patient has skin breakdown, so they're all red and moist around the stoma because they've been having a lot of leakage, that is when you can get this powder. So this would be in your ostomy bin. It's a non-medicated powder, stoma powder, and you would say this is moist. Here, you know what? I'm gonna make it moist. Okay, so put your powder. It's gonna, and it can go on the stoma, not an issue. And then I always take some gauze, I don't have any with me, and brush, you wanna brush that powder off. So basically, I'll make it work here. Yeah, thank you. So I've got gauze, I'm gonna brush it so that you're not like having it caked, but you can see where it's stuck to where it's moist. And then you get your skin prep, open that up, and then you're gonna put a layer of skin prep, pat it, typically patting on works the best so that you're not just wiping the powder off. Pat that around to seal that powder in. And then you can do multiple layers of that if the skin is really bad, if you need to, and then you'd put your pouch right on top of that. Other thing you might see is paste. Let me grab a third pouch here. So, let's start with another pouch here. We're just gonna say we have a opening. That's the right size. So paste you'll often use if they've got some holes, like creases or something you need to fill in, or if you're having trouble keeping the pouch on, but really only use it probably if the patient or I or Jean are telling you to use it. But this you would use after you take the backing off the pouch, if I can get it off. Okay, so you take that backing off. Goodness, this pouch is effective. Then you take your paste. It's a caulk. This is the most important thing to know. This is caulking, it's not adhesive. So you do not want to put it over the whole back of the pouch. That will make your pouch not stick. But how we typically want you to use it is, and see that it's a new thing, so you might have to, on a new one, get that first little separated part out. Just use it right around the opening, just a thin layer around that opening of the pouch on the back. And then when you put that onto the stoma, then it will fill in any cracks and it'll dry hard. Okay? But biggest thing is you don't want to just smear a ton on the back of the pouch. That's one of the most common errors we see with paste. So just around the opening, a thin layer. And other thing to know is there are two kinds of pouches. There's one piece, like what I was just using, that has attached, and there's a two-piece pouch. So if you're doing a pouch change with a two-piece pouch, you would, it's a lot easier in some ways because you just have that flange that you're cutting, and comparing it's super easy. You can just put the flange on, and then you attach your pouch at whatever angle you need, and it's like a Tupperware. You can get your fingers underneath of here and work your way around. Just make sure that you get it sealed the whole way around. And you don't have to push into the patient because you can get your fingers underneath of there. So that's how the two-piece pouch works. That's it.